Thank God and praise Jesus for this day today. It's a great day to draw, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips for drawing portraits in two different styles. My goal for this study was to draw one set of portraits in a realistic style and another set of portraits in my own style. I started this study with a realistic style because I knew it would be the hardest for me to draw. I like drawing characters in a more manga style, but it's good to draw and study realistic proportions and faces before you stylize them. And so that's what I'm doing here in this study and in this time lapse. To start any portrait sketch, I always sketch out where each facial feature will go and just the basic proportions of the face. I want to make sure that is right before I continue and add detail. And so I'm just starting out with basic shapes, and like I said, just keep adding more and more detail as I go along. When drawing portraits in a realistic style, I found that it's important to draw the facial features as accurately as possible. And with this one, the first one, I made sure his eyes are smaller. He has a larger nose and larger lips, and I'm really trying to make this feel realistic. And so I want the proportions to look correct. I want the facial features to have as much detail as they need to make it look realistic. And to do that, the shading also helps in this sketch to make it look more realistic. That was probably my favorite part of this whole thing. I did my best to emulate the same lights and shadows across the face. And yeah, like I said, shading was definitely my favorite part because it really made the sketch look a lot more realistic. After the drawing was done, I used a blending brush to smooth out some of the areas. That really helped me get a sense of realism, especially around the eyes. And for the second portrait, I pretty much had the same process. Start out with the basic shapes, basic proportions, figure those out, and then keep adding detail to those basic shapes, more and more detail as I go along. I wanted my sketches to resemble the people as much as possible, and I'm happy with how they came out. The more detail I added to the drawing, the more realistic it seemed to get, especially in the hair, eyes, and the nose area. But yeah, this is a good study to do. I haven't really drawn a realistic portrait in a while, and so this study was really fun to do, really exciting to see where my skills are at, and I encourage anybody to do this as well.
It's rejoin.
So after that, I started drawing the same portraits but in my own style. The first thing I always do, like I said, when I sketch a portrait, is start with the basic proportions of the face and add the basic shapes, and just continue to build off of that and add the detail. The difference with these portraits is that they are going to be a lot more simplified in the areas of the nose, hair, lips, and the eyes. I draw the eyes bigger and simplify the shapes of the hair, but I still want the shape of the head to be similar to the reference, and so I make sure that's the same. And overall, I just want these sketches to feel like the same person, even though it's in a manga style, it's in my style. The key to a stylized portrait is really just simplicity, and I don't need to draw every detail of the face like I do in a realistic portrait drawing. I wanted to do these stylized portraits last because of how fun it would be. It's like giving myself a break from the difficulty of the realistic portrait. I definitely wanted to do the realistic portraits first, to challenge myself, and then do the stylized portraits last to give myself a break and just have fun with sketching faces. But it's fun to see my process from the realistic to the stylized and how similar but different they are in the different styles. With the realistic portraits, my faces are a lot more realistic, right? So the eyes are smaller, there's a lot more detail. But when you go over to the stylized faces, they are simplified and a lot more cartoony, a lot more manga-like, and that's what I like to do. But it's good to go in and study how to draw faces realistically so that you can draw them in your own style. Because if you don't know how the face works in real life, then you can't really draw stylized faces that great to begin with. So you should definitely try this out for yourself, because it's a good way to see improvement in your portrait drawings. And you could even take it a step further. After you get done with the stylized versions, you could even create a more simplified and even more stylized version of the portrait drawings. So that's just up to you, but you can definitely take it a step further and make the portraits even more cartoony. And this study was really fun to do because I haven't drawn a realistic portrait in a long time, and so it's been a while, and I'm glad I revisited this because it's really helped me understand my own style even better. And doing this helped me figure out how to simplify proportions of the face and how to shade in a more realistic style. So hopefully I can incorporate a more realistic shading techniques in my simplified, stylized portraits and character drawings. So I hope this video helped you out, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.